Today on BRStv, we're going to touch on a couple of ways to hang your new light fixture from the wall. It's becoming more and more popular to suspend your light fixture over the tank rather than use leg mounts, especially with some of the more popular LED options.
Typically they are hung from the ceiling using cable kits. However, there are instances where that just isn't possible, such as vaulted or otherwise high ceilings. Some people also don't want to drill holes in their ceiling because it is harder to patch than a wall.
I will say, while it isn't that hard, it does take a higher degree of skill to ceiling mount and get the light properly centered on the tank. So if you're not particularly handy and uncomfortable with this, it might be easier to mount it on the wall.
There really aren't a ton of options for hanging from the wall, especially if you are looking for something off the shelf at a hardware store and inexpensive. One thing we did find is these track-mounted brackets used for heavy-duty shelving. With some small modifications, they should work well and are really inexpensive. However, they don't exactly have a polished look to them, so it might be a bit more selective where I would use something like this.
If you're looking for something a bit more polished, Giesemann makes a sharp-looking wall bracket. No one would mistake these for inexpensive, but if you are looking for something attractive that fits the polished look of the rest of your system, this is about the only option that we have found. They are powder coated, so they won't rust, which is nice.
To hang either option, it's always best to screw into the studs, but in most cases, stud spacing doesn't make this feasible. That's where we suggest using toggle bolts like these.
I personally prefer these strap toggle bolts because they're a little easier to use, but either one will work. If you're unfamiliar with how to use toggle bolts, ask somebody at the hardware store and they'll show you in just a few seconds. Basically, just drill a hole in the wall, slide the toggle through, it'll snap open to get a solid grip on the wall, which will support a lot more weight.
That about wraps up today's episode. Thank you for watching BRStv.